Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The New World. And in today's video, after another big trade has commenced for the now offseason of the NBA with future Hall of Famer Kevin Durant, who previously was a part of the Phoenix Suns for 3 seasons, has departed yet again and will be making his way to the state of Texas, joining the young and loaded Houston Rockets team. Now, trade rumors for Durant surprisingly grew during this year's trade deadline, as it shocked Durant that the organization considered moving on from the star forward when he showed no signs of declining after his almost another year of a 50-40-90 season and being one of, or if not, the most efficient shooter in the league. So, after the shock, Durant made it clear that he would go ahead and move on from the team when the offseason came along. The Suns would end up finishing the season with a worse record than the previous season and not even make the play-in tournament despite having Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal as their 3-headed monster. Well, more like a 2.5-headed monster. So, the Suns, despite a continuous back and forth amongst other teams on deciding the haul to receive for KD, Phoenix sent KD to Houston and in return got back Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, this year's 10th overall pick, and 5 second-rounders. Now, although we can flame Phoenix for their very odd decision-making in the front office, that could be said for another video, but make sure to hit that subscribe button and help us on road to 10K subs. Hit that like button if you enjoy the content, and make sure to share this video to your friends, your family, tell one, tell all about the new world. And make sure you comment your thoughts on the KD trade and who you think won the trade between both sides. And will KD help bring this young Rockets team a ring, or will it crash out and crumble, as we have seen KD fail to make it back to a finals since leaving the Golden State Warriors? And make sure to check out our previous videos if you haven't. Now, Bardo, what was your initial reaction to seeing KD get traded to the Houston Rockets? And do you see KD helping this team make it to the NBA Finals, or will KD be once again out of luck and fail to make it back to another Finals?
All right, I got a few things to touch on before we start talking about Mr. Kevin Durant specifically. First thing about the Phoenix Suns, we will never be making a video about the Phoenix Suns again. They don't deserve our attention. I'm so glad that Kevin Durant has now been traded. We never have to talk about that lame-ass, dry-ass, incompetent-ass franchise again. They're terrible. So, Phoenix Suns, you're not getting no more of my time. Good riddance. Second point is I actually want to throw out some shots, bro. Like, I actually want to call out one Mr. Chris Broussard, one of the analysts with First Things First. Chris Broussard, brother, you're not a basketball analyst. You're not a smart basketball person. There have been countless occasions of you repeating other people's takes, and you have one very, very tired take. I don't know if you have some gripe against KD or what the problem is, but you saying that Kevin Durant puts up empty calories and all of this other shit, and you're basically saying that, you know, his stats, he's just stat padding. What the fuck are you talking about, sir? That just goes to show that you don't watch basketball. You're not aware. As Jalen said, Kevin Durant might be the most efficient. No. Kevin Durant is the most efficient scorer in the NBA. And Kevin Durant has probably been the most efficient scorer in the NBA since his rookie season. Like, if people don't understand, this man has never averaged less than 25 points since his rookie season. Ladies and gentlemen, is that not bonkers? I just want people to do one thing. Kevin Durant's 2024-25 season shot chart. Just look at the brother's shot chart. Last year, he was the best shooter in the NBA. He was the best shooter in the NBA. Every single point on the shot chart, he's well above league average. I think in corner three, he's shooting over 50% from the three on corner threes. Mid-range, godlike. So when we're talking about what the Houston Rockets got, they got a guy that, yeah, is he 36, 37? Sure. Is he as great as he used to be? No. But he's still a bucket. And that's really all that they needed. There was no reason of why the Houston Rockets shouldn't have beat the Golden State Warriors in the first round. They were the better team, in my humble opinion. But because of their youth and just inability to score any points, lost that series in 7 games. Took them 7 games to lose that series, and they couldn't get any. You got bum-ass niggas like, Jalen Green has been in the league 3 years and doesn't have any growth. out there just jacking up shots, giving you single digits. This is supposed to be your go-to number one option scoring the basketball. He's giving you single-digit games on multiple occasions in the first round. So think about this. You're basically replacing Jalen Green with Kevin fucking Durant. Like, bro, y'all kidding me? This is KD, ladies and gentlemen. Man, was 27 points last on 53% shooting, 40+% from the three. There's not a lot of commodities like that in the NBA. And for people to act like Chris Broussard, to act like Kevin Durant is not a valuable asset, and he's still not a great player, just because he was on a shitload team in the Phoenix Suns that don't know how to acquire a point guard, don't know how to competently build a roster. I thought that was really, really disingenuous and just really disrespectful to the legacy of this dude. I think that what people lack when we start talking about these athletes and their careers is context. So yes, has Kevin Durant made a championship since he left Golden State? No. But one thing I never see people taking into account when we talk about Kevin Durant is this. The last time we saw Kevin Durant on the final stage, he tore his Achilles in his 30s. And I think it took him about 2 full years to really come back from that injury, over 500 days. Why don't niggas want to talk about the fact that this man is 37 years old right now and has had an Achilles injury? He's not supposed to be this good. But since he is that good, we don't even want to acknowledge the fact that he's doing something that has never been done. Typically, when people, like, we're still comparing Kevin Durant to the Kevin Durant that's in Golden State. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't mean to break news, but that Kevin Durant that's in Golden State, he's not that player anymore. Even when he went to Brooklyn Nets, he was not that player. His game was more refined. That goes to show about how this man is really dedicated and in the lab working on his craft. From athleticism standpoint, he was not the same guy. So the fact that we keep on comparing him to that without having to take into account that this guy came off of an Achilles injury, I always find that to be like just mind-boggling that we don't want to acknowledge that. But let it be a LeBron James, let it be a Stephen Curry, and we will continue to talk about it every single time they have a 30-point game. I'm really getting sick of it. I think that just goes to show that niggas don't want to acknowledge how great Kevin Durant is, but they really do it without saying it. Because when we continue to compare him to that version of Kevin Durant, it just shows that he really is that nigga, man. Really just want to keep it a stack. So I was really happy with this move. Happy that Kevin Durant was able to go to a situation where it didn't have to mortgage all of their assets to get him, because that was the problem with Phoenix. They basically traded half their damn team to get him. And by then it's a team that, yeah, they have Devin Booker and at the time Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton, but it's not a complete team. He's basically going into a plug-and-play situation with the Houston Rockets where he can just do his job. Because like I said, Jay, the only thing that the Houston Rockets didn't have was somebody that could score. That's literally it. You got, bum-ass Jalen Green that couldn't get any baskets. Single digits, dog? Like, we ain't even going to talk about him. He's irrelevant. But Kevin Durant, it's time for niggas to start putting some respect on his name. And if he is just the same player that he was in the 2024-25 season, this team can make it to the finals. They can. They got everything. And another thing that niggas not talking about with the Houston Rockets, Reed Sheppard barely played last year. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a top 5 overall pick. And really the reason why he didn't play was because Ime is a hard coach. And so he didn't think that he was ready to play because of his lack of defense. But also they didn't really need him. Now they're going to use him. They're going to utilize him because he is a shooter. He's a sniper. So you're going to start Fred VanVleet. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Reed Sheppard continuing to build his confidence, give you valuable production off the bench. And that's scary. Then you got Reed Sheppard coming off the bench. You got Eason, you got all those guys coming off. You got Steven Adams coming off the bench. That Şengün, Steven Adams, that double big lineup, that worked out really, really well for them last year. So this team got it. And as my boy Jay talked about with Ivan Thompson, as soon as that brother really learns how to play basketball on the offensive end, good night. Good night, because his potential is way better, way higher than a nigga like Jalen Green. So I just think that you got a guy like Kevin Durant, bro. This is just the perfect opportunity for him to just kind of do his thing. We pay KD to get buckets. He's probably the best person, because, like, you ever have a job and they're just like, man, this person is the best to ever do this job. When it comes to getting a bucket, like that singular entity, that singular category, the only person I can say that can get a bucket better than one Mr. Kevin Durant is probably Michael Jordan. That's it. And I can make an argument that Jordan probably couldn't get a bucket as easily as Kevin Durant. I can guarantee buckets with him. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, look at that 2024-25 shot chart. It's remarkable. No cold spots. Like when you go on 2K, typically, you look at niggas' tendencies, they got cold. Kevin Durant has no cold spots. They're all warm to hot spots. Like that means what? He has no flaws offensively, ladies and gentlemen. So people need to let that register. And last point, the Phoenix Suns without Kevin Durant were 3-17 last year. With him, they were above 500 team. So the fact that niggas are being disingenuous and acting like Kevin Durant doesn't have value is killing me. The only thing we can talk about with Kevin Durant is injuries. That's it. So if you want to say, oh, well, Kevin Durant, he may not be available. Cool. I got you. But on that damn basketball court, because I'll be watching these games. And like the first 30 games of the season before Kevin Durant went down with that injury, Phoenix Suns were one of the best teams in the Western Conference. And he was looking like an MVP candidate. So before people start disrespecting and tarnishing my boy KD's name, because it may become apparent in this video, he is one of my favorite players of all time. Put some respect on that man's name, ladies and gentlemen. He is that guy. And if he can stay healthy, if he can play 60 to 70 games, which I think is reasonable, this team can make a lot of noise. I think that they're, as of now, currently constructed. I think they're better than the Warriors. I think they're better than the Lakers. Now Kevin Durant finally has some stability on his team. Let's see how it shakes out, man. Because if he's facing one of these other older guys, I'm going to take KD because we haven't really seen him in a competitive playoff matchup in a minute. But if niggas still think that Kevin Durant is the same player since 2021, which I don't think he is, what was he doing to Giannis? Everybody just keep that in the recesses of your mind. That was one of the greatest playoff series of all time. Kevin Durant, that's what he is capable of doing when he's surrounded with a competent team. And that wasn't even a competent team. You had Kyrie Irving go down with injury. You had James Harden being James Harden. You had Joe Harris that couldn't make shit, even though he shot almost 50% from the three-point line in the regular season. So let's see what one Mr. Kevin Durant can do with good team. And I ain't even talked about the coach, who's probably the best asset on the team right now, who wanted KD. Ime Udoka told the front office, who they were like initially saying that they weren't going to try to get KD. He was like, are y'all niggas fucking dumb? That's Kevin Durant over there that wants to come over here. We got to go get him. Make it happen. They made it happen. I'm happy for the dog. He's also going to be stacking a lot of bread in a state with no income tax. I love to see it, man. So let's go, Houston. May have to get a jersey. You never know. I got a few jerseys that I need to cop. But that Houston in 35, woohoo! That shit might be typed up. Jay.
Yeah, that boy KD, he finna be selling some jerseys. But honestly, one thing that has really amazed me is really like the hate that KD gets. Like, of course, it's the main that surrounds him. People call him ring chaser, and why is he on teams? But the one thing we never see him, people talk about him is his game. And we see Stephen A talk about this. KD, brother, he's been looking. He can say he's been looking better, shooting wise, at his age of 36, going on 37. Like, as a career, he's almost shot 50, 40, 90 splits at basically 6'11", 7 foot. Like, at his age, bro, you don't see this. Like, the efficiency. And I mean, it's amazing. Like, KD, yeah, you can say all you want about, him, ring chasing, all that, Everybody can still be mad about him going to Golden State, whatever, say his rings are fake. Okay, cool. You deal with it. He still got 2 rings. That man KD is a bucket. That man KD is clutch. That man KD, this is what the Rockets needed. Watching that Rockets series, the only thing we were talking about is like, I mean, the Rockets can win this series, but they don't got a first option. And their supposed first option, Jalen Green, I mean, he was dumpster fire. He was nowhere to be found. He had that 138-point game, but after that, He was throwing up single digits. And it's like, brother, what are we doing? And the main thing that was pissing me off even more is that NBA kept on re-rolling that Wingstop commercial. He didn't deserve that commercial at all. I was so tired of seeing that. That brother was putting up horrible numbers. And that brother did not deserve no commercial. But, it's a good thing that, Houston, they clearly saw that, hey, we tired of seeing this. We seen enough already. We got enough other younger guys. We finna put, more of our spotlight on Ime Thompson. Because, Ime Thompson, oh my gosh, that ceiling is through the roof. Like, this dude looks like a seasoned vet. His defense is great. And, he's working on that handle. He's in the lab with the point guard whisperer, SGA's trainer. And now he's teammates with one of the greatest shooters and the probably the most efficient shooter of all time. So, the pieces around him, that man's ceiling, if he really like elevates his game for real, we might be talking about him like as far as talent, he might be one of the greatest talents of all time if he like puts it all together. And we're probably gonna see a big star in the making. So this Houston team, I'm really excited to see them going into next season. This team won 50 games, without having a KD. So this is an upgrade, and I think this team, they can definitely go back to being, number 2 seed again. And I think at the least this team is making the Western Conference Finals. Like this team, they got Sengun, they got Jabari Smith. They finna we're probably gonna see them sign for Van Fleet, or they might just stick with Reed Shepherd, and that's a top 5 pick. So you got a Reed Shepherd, you got an Ime Thompson, you got Cam Whitmore, you got Atari Eason, you got Steven Adams. Like this team has pieces. And then they got Ime Udoka, who's a great defensive-minded head coach, a head coach that's been to the finals. And he saw what Kevin Durant did in 2020. Yeah, you can say KD didn't do what he's supposed to do. That next team didn't win, but we all know if KD had at the least Kyrie Irving, they would make it to that finals. And a lot of people thought that too. And they were going to win that final. Like KD in that year, that playoff, that postseason, oh my gosh. It was crazy. He was giving us crazy highlights. And he still does it to this day. So you can't hate on, KD game, but all they do is really hate on, the fact that he's bouncing around teams. But if you really look at, the situation, that's kind of something that's out of his control. Like Kyrie got hurt, then, Brooklyn and the organization, they weren't really messing with Kyrie, especially because this was around, COVID and stuff. So they were like, okay, we finna get you up out of here. And, Kyrie was gone. And then James Harden left. Even though James Harden don't really show up in the playoffs anyways, James Harden left. So KD was out there, by himself. So, the guys that he was supposed to win with, they were gone. So then he goes to, Phoenix. But then by this time, Chris Paul, he's looking of his age. DeAndre Ayton, I don't know what the world was going on. I guess, after 2021, Giannis gave him nightmares because he did not look like the same player, in Phoenix. And Devin Booker's Devin Booker, but that team, they're missing the role players in like Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, all that. So, they lost pretty early. Then, you get Bradley Beal. You're expecting Bradley Beal making all this money, no trade clause. He's supposed to come in and help this team. That didn't work out so well. Bradley Beal, he was really looking like a fourth option, honestly. And that team really wasn't clicking. They just didn't have no offensive, system. They just didn't have, it really just didn't look sound. It just looked like KD and Devin Booker, sharing buckets, and that's all it was. They got bounced out the first round by Amen, and this past season they didn't even make it to the playoffs. So now KD, he's in Houston. I think, like I said, I think at the least they're making it to the Western Conference Finals. And even if you can hate on KD, man, one thing you can't hate on is that man's game. And like I said, this is honestly the only thing that this Houston Rockets team needed. So honestly, I'm interested to see what they'll do against OKC. If OKC, works on their offense, we already know how good of a defensive team they are. But OKC, they don't got nobody that can stop KD now. Yeah, Caruso was locking up folks and Lou Dort was doing all that, but KD, that's a different beast. Like the way he gets his buckets, it don't matter who's on him. Jason, he was getting buckets on Jason Tatum, getting back buckets on Giannis. Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, it didn't matter. It don't matter who's on him. He's gonna get his buckets. Like you can count him in the mid range. You can see the shot chart. We will be inserting that in this video. That shot chart, it's a whole lot of green. It's a whole lot of green. It ain't no red. And it's a little bit of yellow, but it's a whole lot of green on that shot chart. So put some respect on KD name. Make sure y'all got your eyes on this Houston Rockets team because they will be talked about. That's as a big market. And now they got a big name player, a legend, a Hall of Famer, a future Hall of Famer, and KD. So don't be surprised that this Houston Rockets team will be talked about a whole lot throughout the season. So yeah, man, it's high hopes for this team. I can't wait to see this team. The West is continuing to stack up, and it don't honestly. I don't think the Houston Rockets are done making moves. We seen Drew Holiday just get traded, and of course he doesn't want to stay in Portland. I mean, who does? So if they mess around to get Drew Holiday, oh my gosh! I mean, the team just, like I said, this team, they got the pieces. So I mean, this Houston Rockets team, they are finna be competing while they have KD, and they are pretty sure most likely the Houston Rockets already said that they're agreeing that they will, sign KD to an extension. So that'll probably be 2-3 years. So I'm thinking at the least that this team at least gets one ring within those 3 years with KD. Now, yeah, if KD fails to win a ring and this team, crumbles, then we can say, yeah, KD's a problem, he's a plague, whatever. But if it don't happen, man, this team, they finna make some noise, man.